What can a Century 21 agent do for you? They open your home, solve your problems and pat your dog. They provide the service of a butler and the savvy of a business tycoon. Century 21 agents. Smarter, bolder, faster.
Welcome back to Your Property Empire. Well, joining me on the show tonight is Mary Lynn from Sotheby's International Realty, and we've just been joined by Charles Tarbey, Chairman and owner of Century 21 Australasia.
Geez, you're doing well.
I know. I managed to, if it wasn't for an order queue, I wouldn't know where I was. So before the break, we were talking about, obviously, Mary dealing in this fabulous property. Now, you can probably paint a different picture because you're dealing with people all around Australia and also in New Zealand. I guess what is the typical person that kind of comes into real estate, and do they follow the glitz and glamour?
And Papua New Guinea.
And Papua New Guinea as well.
They do, and there's a tendency, particularly with the generation nowadays that have gotten into real estate in the last 2 or 3 years, only because of the way it's been, I guess, promoted. If you look, most of it's been socially media marketing. I'm on this case a lot at the moment, and it looks fantastic because a lot of people, when you post something on Facebook, you don't post something about how bad you're doing or how bad you look. It's always about how great things are. So there's this perception that the industry is what it's not, actually, and what it is, it's about building relationships and dealing with people. That's what it's about. And a lot of people get their business because of the history they've had in dealing with other people, and that's why it works for them. So there is a misconception out there.
So, Mary, I guess a lot of people, we've seen some of the pictures of the properties you're dealing with. They think you'd be swanning around there, having a cup of tea and kind of chatting to the agents. But I guess how hard are you actually working in terms of hours, and how hard is Michael working?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like Charles was saying, there's this misconception about how it's all portrayed. And I think it's very important that people should understand that it's still a career, it is a job, you know, and you've got to put the hours in to get results. And Michael works around the clock, like we were talking about before. It is an international company, and Michael's one of the top agents, and he lives by his words. He works around the clock to get results, and I'm starting to, you know, fall into that path, and I think there's no other way to be than hardworking.
So is it almost 24/7?
We do sleep. Hardly.
In your world, you're dealing with a lot of overseas buyers.
Very
so
true.
you have to work different time zones.
Absolutely.
Well.
So you're working, because they're still your client, you still got to work with their time zone. You don't be like, you call me when I want to be awake. It's more like, whenever it's convenient for you, then we'll call you then. So.
And Chris, in traditional suburbs, you're out working at people's homes at night time when they're with their families and you're not with yours. And a lot of people have a tendency to overlook that. Real estate's a very unusual industry. It's certainly 9 to 5 hours, but it's not 9 to 5 in real life.
Because how do you find people transition from doing a normal job? Because Tom was saying before is quite often before it's the 9 to 5 job, whereas this is the 24/7 hustle. Do people struggle with it?
A lot of people do, and it does take a lot of pressure, a lot of weight on people in terms of family, not so much even the person working in real estate, but the other family member puts a lot of pressure on them because you're not there a lot of time. I mean, I was in general real estate. Seriously, I was sitting at people's houses at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. Then you get phone calls early in the morning before they want to go to work, or they want to see you on Saturday or all day Sunday. It doesn't stop. It's not a 9 to 5 role, and it's a lot harder than what people think it is.
Very true.
So, Mary, you've started off kind of right at the top of the ladder in a way, working with the best. So what's next for you? Where do you head from working for someone like Michael? Do you start competing with him?
Well, no, of course not. But right now I just want to focus on becoming a better agent and also learning from the best, and also just perfecting the skills. You know, you're always learning. You know, you could be very, very old and you're still learning every day. And so
that's why he brings me on the show.
Every day, every week.
No, because it doesn't matter. Go on.
Experience. No, of course I understand.
He's got what's 50? What's 50 years? Like decades 10.
I was saying to my partner Amy the other night that there's an old Italian proverb: by the time you turn 50, you end up with the face you deserve. So I reckon I've been a pretty nice guy for a while. What do you reckon?
Yeah, so I just want to focus on that, but I want to be able to combine everything, my skills, my experiences together, create something new. So I guess watch this space.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Good to see.
Now, obviously, not everyone starting in real estate is going to be able to jump into a job like Mary. For the people, say, in outer areas or not in the salubrious ones, is how much training is there and how much, I guess, mentoring is available for people?
And, you know, that's absolutely the key at the moment. A lot of people have gone away from the training side. They're watching a lot of videos, watching people's successes and hearing about people's success. Well, Tom talks a lot about it. But the basics are that you really need to learn your skills. It's great to watch people who are successful, but when people are successful, very often do they tell you what it really felt like, because often they don't remember. So you see the snapshot, you never see the whole movie, and the snapshot always looks great. Training is absolutely key, critical, right back to the basics, right now, absolutely necessary for real estate practitioners who want to survive.
And the bottom line is probably similar to recruiting, is you've got to be on the phone. And you probably need to be making, what, 50 or 100 phone calls a week, at least, of outgoing calls and connections to actually deal with that.
Yeah, when you're starting out, we always tell people that you've got to focus on the method of introduction, you've got to focus on the relationships, because if you don't, you will be making 50 to 100 calls a week. There are people who are out there in the community who see 100 people a day in shops and businesses, and if you have a relationship with them, I mean, your hairdresser's here tonight, and she would talk to 100 people a week easily.
Very true.
And if she's the one that you talk to every week and focus on the relationship with her, she'll tell you about everything you need to know without having to make the 100 calls.
It is very true.
When an agent progresses to that level, that's when they really start to make things happen.
Because then it's not really work, is it? If you do something you love and you're out there and you're
Exactly.
Yeah, it should
but
be.
you gotta. It's also, you know, just saying the right things as well. You know, because you don't want to have pointless conversations at the same time. So you got to be quite targeted on your conversations as well. And I think that comes with experience and age and focus.
So
again, that's why I'm on the show. So you have references.
I know.
Any advice to young people looking to get into the market?
Yes, absolutely. I really am a big advocate on having a clear vision on what you want to be and who you want to be in the next couple of years, and following and working towards that vision in stages. And I think going back, like Charles was saying, fundamentals, that is so important. Having a solid foundation is key, because you could watch all these videos and see what they have become, but you don't know the stages they've worked towards. And so definitely know your fundamentals. Start from the bottom. Learn all the tricks and, you know, from the trades, and just growing from that, you know that you're going to have a solid foundation that you won't fall as hard. And you'll make it as a solid agent.
Some good advice.
Yeah.
Let's jump onto your numbers straight away.
Yes, sir. Clearance rate 68.6 on a national basis, but again, a lot lower than this time last year, which was 78.9%. And Sydney, our favourite market, came in at 69.7%, but last year it was 87%. Clearance rates up in the northwest sector, as an example, were actually pretty good. So the northwest, thumbs up to the agents in the northwest sector of Sydney. They've done very well. But mostly all around the countryside, the levels are low compared to this time last year. Melbourne was 71.9%. I'm sorry, 71.7%. Canberra was a winner at 71.9%. But last year Melbourne was also up there, and it was sitting at 79.5%. So the clearance rates for the year over this time last year have significantly changed.
And how about their homes advertised for sale?
Down, and that's not a bad thing. 1.06% here in Australia, up 14.2% in New Zealand. Not much in Auckland, but mostly around the surrounding areas. And I think that people are coming into winter and also a changing market in Sydney. They're probably thinking, hey, maybe it's time now to sit back and pull our properties off the market. So.
And the rent price?
They're not too bad, up 0.22% in Brisbane. Best performer was actually Adelaide at 0.27% for the week. It's up 0.28 over this time last week, and for the year to date it's up 0.96%.
And very quickly, the vacancy as well.
Add the figures together, 1.28 for Sydney, 3.87 for Melbourne, Victoria, and 7.6 for WA, 4.25% all up.
Wonderful. Speed read numbers, perfect.
Yeah, no problems. Thank you.
Charles Tarbey from Century 21, Mary Lim from Sotheby's. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us at home. We'll be back again next week. I hope you enjoyed the special show. I'm Chris Gray. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.